Don't say it! I'm warning you! Don't do it! What does...
Subscribe.
Red Dragon Archfiend is arguably one of the strongest decks in Yu-Gi-Oh's new Genesis format due to the entire core of the deck costing a grand total of 10 measly points. Having such a big leftover budget gives you so much freedom when it comes to building the deck, and even though it has a very heavy restriction locking you to Dark Dragon Synchro monsters, there's actually a lot of ways you can build it. You can buy 90 points worth of hand traps for the main deck, you can pay for a Centurion engine, and turn almost any 2-card combo into a King Calamity lock because Calamity also only costs 1 singular point. You can blind second with the stronger board breakers and just kill your opponent. Heck, some people are even trying to play Chaos Ruler. Last time we won a Genesis tournament playing pure with lots of hand traps, but today I spent all my points on 3 copies of Pot of Greed. It would be rude not to. Legally playing this card for the first time in 20 years couldn't be any more exciting, so smash that motherfucking like button and let's see if it's worth it. Alright, let's run through the profile that we're going to be taking to locals today, of course, with 3 copies of Pot of Greed in the main deck. So getting into the main deck here, of course, the engine and the core is, for the most part, going to be the same as the previous video. So we have 3 copies of Soul Resonator, 3 copies of Resonator Call, we got 2 Stone Sweeper and 2 Crimson Gaia for 10 1-card starters right there. And for the non-tuners, we have 3 copies of Bone Archfiend, 2 copies of Void Apocalypse, which is basically just more Bone Archfiend, 3 copies of Supé. I've thrown the Wild Wind in the main deck rather than the side deck because I was just getting annoyed at the random 1 card in the side deck. I figured we could just chuck it in the main, and then we also have the Salamander Catalyzer as well. From there, we have our Crimson Resonator, of course, 2 Vision Resonator, we have the Synchron, the UV Loop, the Supé, and the 2 Traps, Fiendish Golem and Red Zone. And that is 28 cards in the engine right there, meaning we have 12 cards to fill out the deck. In the last episode, we were playing 12 or 13 hand traps, I think it was, because Wild Wind was in the side. But here, we are, of course, playing 3 copies of Pot of Greed, 30 points apiece, 90 points right there, so we've spent all of our points. This leaves us with another 9 spaces for non-engine, and for the non-engine, I wanted cards that were good going first and second, because our end board can just get cooked by common cards like Ultimate Slayer. So we need to be able to back our board up with additional interruptions that don't rely on, you know, our end board sticking. For that reason, we're not main decking the board breakers like Ultimate Slayer and Dark Ruler, but in fact, we're playing quick play spells that all have a certain purpose. So the first one here is triple enemy controller. Arguably, this could be something like Chalice, but I ended up deciding on the enemy controller because this is decent against something like Mimighoul. You know, you can tribute the monster they give you and then steal one of their monsters, which would then allow you to normal summon unless they have the trap or, you know, something like that. I also feel like stealing your opponent's monster is just a better interruption than negating it sometimes. And in the case of going second, sometimes you can use Econ to take your opponent's non-tuner, which would then allow you to combo. And in that same vein, we're also playing 3 copies of Spellcard Monster Reborn. If you're going first and your plays get interrupted, Spellcard Monster Reborn can just act as an extender and summon, say, like Soul from Graveyard so that you can then synchro with your Red Rising Dragon that got negated and end on Abyss rather than nothing. So not only is it a DD Crow-like interruption, but it's also just good at getting you an additional body / material. And then the final 3 slots, we have 3 Skullmeister, which honestly isn't the best hand trap, but it's free and it works well in our deck because it's a level 4 non-tuner that we can pair with something like Crimson Resonator. So worst case scenario, we search for Crimson Resonator, special Crimson, normal Skullmeister, and combo that way. So basically all of our non-engine here is able to contribute to us building a board while serving as potential interruptions against our opponent. That is our 40 card list. That is the list I'm going to be playing. I'm not saying this is my thoughts on the most optimal way to play the deck or anything like that. That is just what we are taking to locals today. Triple Pot of Greed, baby. We're going to be drawing some cards. Going through the extra deck super quick because I don't think anything's really changed. We have double Rising, 1 Quibalt, double Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Scarred, 1 Scarlight. I put the Void Ogre in. This is supposed to be a Malong, but I couldn't get one in time. We have the Abyss, the Bane, the Dispatcher, the Red Nova Dragon, the red Supernova Dragon, and then Garura and Aggregator. Because we are, of course, playing the Ultimate Slayer in the side deck. And now for the side deck, of course, like I said, we're playing the 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer, but because we're not playing hand traps or, you know, like good hand traps, our opponent is most of the time just going to be able to set up whatever they need to set up. So if they're playing a deck that can summon 8 towers, we're going to need something like Gamma Seal to potentially just out it, you know? And Pot of Greed, drawing into Gamma Seal, pretty nice. We also have our back row removal, triple Cyclone and triple Twin Twisters. I don't think you need all 6. You can maybe cut one of these. And then to round off the side deck, I also wanted a card that we could put in going first that's, you know, stronger than something, say, like Skullmaster, because maybe our opponent's playing a deck and it just doesn't care about graveyard effects. So I was looking for 3 compulsory. Apparently I don't have any compulsory. So I just chucked in 3 copies of Fiendish Chain because it's a decent trap, you know? Also, look at these mixed rarities that we're playing, man. Secret rare, ultra rare, starlight rare, dude. My god. Yeah, that's the list we're going to be playing. Let's take it to locals and see how we do today. Can we win 2 Genesys events in a row with Red Dragon Archfiend? Let's go. Alright, so round 1 of today's Genesys locals, we lose the dice roll to Nathan on Invoked Eldlich, and I gotta say, this felt like one of the most incredible matches of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played in a very long time. Hopefully it's just as enjoyable to watch. It's time to duel, baby. So Nathan, on the play going first, goes ahead and sets 3 back row before passing turn. I have no idea what he's on at this point. Usually he plays some kind of combo deck, so yeah, this surprised me a lot. Over to us, as if it was meant to be, the first card we play of the entire tournament with our Pot of Greed deck is Pot of Greed. Even after the Pot of Greed though, we literally have a hand full of Garnets, so any interruption on our Soul Resonator is literally going to end our combo. Thankfully it resolves, so we get the Boner in hand, and then send Supe to the graveyard to special summon it, and activate its effect on field, targeting Soul Resonator, but we are hit with a Ghost Ogre. That's literally going to stop us dead in our tracks. We can't stop that, so yeah, Bone dies, its effect does resolve, and there's not really anything we can send here that extends our plays, so we just dump Vision, and then activate the effect of Vision to add a spell or trap. That is, of course, going to be Crimson Gaia to our hand. We could have just not activated the effect of Bone, but, like, I wasn't expecting a Ghost Ogre, man. Anyway, we activate the Crimson Gaia and its effect, adding back the Vision Resonator from grave to hand, and then we go into the battle phase and try to punch for 500, but Nathan wants to protect his life points. We were just going in for a little tickle, you know, but no, he activates Aquaro and summons it in attack position. Big mistake, because now we go enemy controller, Tribute Soul to take the Aquaro and punch him for 1800 with his own trap monster. On top of that, thanks for the level 5 non-tuner buddy, we can synchro with our Crimson Resonator into a Quibelt that's going to target one of his back row and pop it. Turns out to be a Dragon's Mind. We can then special summon our Vision Resonator and synchro with a Quibelt into a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, set our 2 traps, and pass turn. So what was a dire situation really got turned around there. Over to Nathan, he activates the effect of Golden Lord in hand, sending itself in a trap to graveyard, targeting the Abyss to send it to the grave. Then he proceeds to activate the graveyard effect of Golden Lord, sending his set Magic Cylinder to the grave to add itself back to hand, special summon it. It gains 1000 and is indestructible until the end of my turn. He goes in for 3500 damage, but on attack declaration we hit it with a Fiendish Golem. That's going to banish it until the end of my turn. Not much else left he can do, so he just goes to the end phase and banishes his Aquaro to set a Scarlet Sanguine from the deck, and that's going to summon a Golden Lord from deck or graveyard. No real interruptions or anything for us to worry about, and we have a Crimson Gaia right there, so it's basically over at this point. We're just going through the motions now. Starting off with the effect of Crimson Gaia, we're just going to add Soul back from graveyard to hand. We're then just going to normal summon the Soul, activate its effect, and with its effect we're going to search for a Obsessive Uvulup. We can activate Uvulup's effect in hand, banishing the Abyss from grave to special summon itself. Now we can activate our set Red Zone, targeting the Abyss to special summon it, which of course will prompt Nathan to activate his trap before we get our negate on the board. Scarlet Sanguine summons out the Golden Lord from the deck, and then we get Abyss back onto our field. There's honestly a million different ways to kill here, but we special summon Synchron from hand and then activate the Bone effect in grave, sending Synchron from field to grave to special summon the Bone. That's going to trigger the Synchron to add back Vision from grave. We're just kind of in the habit of playing to maximize our resources here, but yeah, we're going to synchro the Uvulup with the Bone to summon Scarlight. Just activate the effect of Scarlight because that'll nuke the Golden Lord, burn Nathan for 500, and then we can punch in for game, and that's the end of game 1. I don't even know he's on Invoked at this point. Alright, game 2, we once again have Nathan going first, and this time he starts with a magical meltdown, so I'm just like, oh my god, what the hell? This is so cool. He adds the Alistair, normal summons Alistair, Alistair adds the invocation, he then follows up with Cursed Elderland, pays 8, feels great, gets the Golden Lord to hand, activates invocation, that's going to use the Golden Lord from hand and banish the Alistair from field to summon out the Mechaba, and then he activates the effect of invocation in grave, shuffling itself back into the deck to add back the banished Alistair. Finally, rounding things off, he sets 3 back row just like in game 1 and passes it over to us. We know he only has the Alistair in hand, so Mechaba is only serving as a monster negate, and once again we have a couple of Garnets in hand. We're starting off with the Crimson Resonator to special summon itself, and then we go Supe, discarding Red Zone. That's going to special summon itself from hand and a Supe from deck. The reason we discarded the Red Zone instead of Crimson Resonator is because I didn't want Crimson to get hit by a potential like Haquero or Ice Dragon's Prison. So yeah, we synchro into the Red Rising Dragon, activate the effect of Crimson Resonator that does get hit with an Impermanence, which is kind of fine because we're still able to use it as synchro material. We follow up with Crimson Gaia, adding a Soul Resonator to hand. We then synchro into Scarred Dragon Archfiend. This plus the Crimson Gaia basically checks the Mechaba, but we have the Synchron in hand as well, so we just special summon the Synchron, and this basically threatens his entire board. If we're able to synchro into the Abyss, it's basically GG for him. So on the summon, he activates Ice Dragon's Prison, reborning the Crimson and then banishing both Resonators from the field, which honestly might have been a misplay because now we're able to just go battle phase and attack for the Scarred. Crimson Gaia is going to book the Mechaba, but Chainlink 2 Magic Cylinder is going to negate the attack. Either way, we don't have to worry about the monster negate on Mechaba anymore, so we go main phase 2, normal summon our Soul Resonator and grab a Boner from the deck. We follow up with a Pot of Greed, drawing 2 additional cards from our deck, and then we activate the effect of Bone, sending the UV loop we just drew to grave for cost to special summon itself. Once again, we have a lot of different lines available to us, but we are going to activate the effect of Bone, targeting Soul, sending Vision to grave to reduce Soul's level to 2. That will trigger the Vision, grabbing us another Crimson Gaia from the deck because we sided out the Fiendish Golem. We can then synchro the Soul Resonator with our Scarred to make Dispatter. Scarred will summon out the Red Dragon Archfiend, and then we can go Dispatter, summon back the Synchron Resonator, and then synchro with the Red Dragon Archfiend into Abyss anyway. Of course, Synchron's going to activate here, grabbing back the Vision Resonator from the graveyard, and then we make a little bit of a misplay, honestly. I activate Spellcard Monster Reborn to summon back Soul Resonator and then synchro with the Boner to make a Quibelt to pop the Mechaba. Instead, it would have been better to just special summon the Vision Resonator from hand and synchro that with the Boner into a Red Rising to summon back the Synchron to then make Quibelt that way. That would have saved us the Monster Reborn as an interruption to steal the Golden Lord, but yeah, on resolution of Mechaba getting destroyed, we activate Gaia to summon back Scarred. We then activate UV Loop and Grave, banishing a Red Rising to add itself back to hand, and pass turn. Now you would think surely this game is over. Nathan starts by activating Cursed Elderland by paying 800. We have to negate that with Abyss because if he's able to just add the Golden Lord, it outs the Abyss anyway. He then adds back and summons the Golden Lord from the graveyard by sending his Cursed Elderland to grave, and then that's going to trigger the Cursed Elderland. It's meant to dump a trap card here. He puts his target on the table. I'm checking that you can use both effects in the same turn, and then he picks it up and adds it to his hand. A very simple and quick illegal action that somehow none of us caught, but yeah, now he's able to normal summon Alistair, grab the invocation, activate invocation, banishing the Alistair from field and our Soul from grave. It has been a long time since I've seen this card, but Invoked Purgatrio hits the field. This absolute beast can attack every monster I control. It has piercing damage, it gains 200 attack for every card I control, and after adding back the Alistair with the graveyard effect of invocation, he's able to discard the Alistair to buff its attack by 1000 until the end of the turn. This gives it 4300 attack to beat over the Dispatter, and then of course for every card that leaves my field, it goes down by 200 attack. So this one Purgatrio just clears our entire board. However, after he destroys the Quibelt, we're able to go Chainlink 1 Quibelt, target the Purgatrio to stop it from attacking any further, and then Chainlink 2 Crimson Gaia is going to summon back the Scarred Dragon Archfiend. So we were literally saved by the secret effect of Quibelt. But yeah, Golden Lord attacks over the Scarred. We then activate the effect of Scarred to summon out a Red Dragon Archfiend. But in main phase 2, Nathan overlays into a Typhon and then bounces our Red Dragon Archfiend back to the extra deck. What a wild comeback. But yeah, back over to us. We draw for turn. The only interruption Nathan has is the illegal Conquistador in the back row. Of course, Typhon is live as well. We banish Dispatter to summon the UV Loop from hand. We then activate the effect of Gaia, which does get popped by Conquistador. So we just activate the other Gaia from hand. Obviously, we can't search with it. I summon back Bone from the graveyard start by sending Stone Sweeper from hand to grave because I wanted to keep some Fiend Tuners in the deck in case we need to use Bone's effect, but we just hard make Red Dragon Archfiend, go into the battle phase, declare an attack on Golden Lord, activate Crimson Gaia to book everything. Funny interaction, but trap monsters get set back in the back row whenever you flip them face down. But yeah, the Red Dragon Archfiend effect activates after damage calc, and that destroys all the defense position monsters. Then activate the effect of Crimson Gaia, summon back the Scarred. We're gonna get a punch in for 3000 damage. Main phase 2, we special summon the Vision from hand and synchro into a Bane. We then activate the effect of Bane, tributing our Scarred Dragon Archfiend to summon back the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and we activate UV Loop, Banish, and Quibot to get it back in hand. Passing it back to Nathan, surely this game is over. He starts by activating Cursed Elderland and its effect, paying 800. We do negate that with the Abyss, like always, we're pretty much forced to. He chains Ghost Ogre. Honestly, that's fine because Abyss is just a vanilla after using its negate anyway. That is also going to trigger Gaia to summon back a Scarred. We just have infinite bodies and resources, man. He's never going to break through. But yeah, he sends a field spell to summon back the Golden Lord, summons the Conquistador, popping the Bane, and then attacks over the Scarred with his Golden Lord. So that's 2 activations out of an illegal Conquistador he's had so far. Passing it back over to us, finally, with no interruptions to worry about, we start by activating Gaia to grab Red Zone back to our hand, just to make sure we have our infinite resources. We banish a Red Dragon Archfiend to summon UV Loop from hand. We then activate the effect of Bone, sending a Cosmic Cyclone to grave, and synchro both the Bone and the UV Loop into Scarlight. Activating the effect of Scarlight is going to blow up the Conquistador and burn for 500. We then go battle phase and declare an attack, activating the effect of Crimson Gaia to book the Golden Lord. Of course, the attack's going to connect. He's going to destroy the Golden Lord. That's going to activate Gaia. Gaia's going to summon back Scarred. We get in another attack for 3000 damage with Scarred, and that is game, finally.
Oh, fucking game. Holy shit.
Some very fun Yu-Gi-Oh! Being played in Genesys format. In round 2, we played against another pure Eldlich this time and hit them with a swift 2-0. I remember when Eldlich felt like this miserable matchup back in 2020, man. What happened? Round 3, we played against Radiant Typhoon and unfortunately got drolled, so our Pot of Greed was useless in hand, but they couldn't clear our big dragons. Game 2, we opened Twin Twisters and just overwhelmed them for another 2-0, and then finally in round 4, we 2-0'd Dragon Rulers off camera because their uninterrupted end board just isn't really that strong. 4-0 today, not dropping a single game, of course, gives us another first place finish, baby. You love to see it. So 3 Pot of Greed. Was it worth it? Obviously, if you're trying to play competitively and, build efficiently, piling all of your points into 3 unsearchable cards just isn't a very good idea because when you don't see them, you're essentially playing like a 0-point deck and, it's putting yourself at a major disadvantage. So competitively, no, but we've seen it frequently enough that we were able to resolve it, and playing Pot of Greed in 2025 is so fun, dude. It was definitely a very, very exciting time at the locals today, and it was very enjoyable. We came first, of course, undefeated, so we can't really say anything too negative about it. Red Dragon Archfiend is just that good of a deck. Oh, yo! We actually pulled a secret rare. Usually when you come first, you pull absolute dog shit in your packs, but we got the Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis, the Thunderbolt. I was really hoping for a Marsh Mao Yummy because I still only have 1, but we'll take a Fleur-de-Lis, dude. We'll take a Fleur-de-Lis. That's nice. Yeah, I think ideally you want to put your points into either as many hand traps as possible so that you're more likely to see your points. Otherwise, you want to put it into cards that you can always access in your engine. For example, a Centurion engine would be much, much better. Goki Machine Super X here as a super rare, okay. Final pack of Dude. I think we already peaked with a secret rare, but we could pull a Noroi. Noroi is like 25, 30 quid. What the hell has happened to this pack? Here we go. All right, we have Tao Tao, the Chanter, Goki Sheik Ogre, DDD First King Clovis, Serene Psychic Sorceress, and we have a Horned Brute Carnovorous. Is this a TCG exclusive? I think it is, right, for dinos. Very nice. Yo, Lunar, Rabbit, Omajinai. Okay, well, I'm happy we got the secret rare. I'm happy we came first. I'm happy we were able to play Pot of Greed many times today. Next time, let's build a King Calamity deck with Centurion.